Hey parents, if your kid's a catcher, you've probably looked at a bunch of different ways to help them get better. Maybe doing in-person lessons, maybe you've watched a ton of YouTube and Instagram videos trying to get drills, but you feel like they're kind of scattered and there's not really a whole system. Maybe you've even looked at online coaching like my program. Well, in this video, I'm going to explain all the details that you need to know about my coaching, why online coaching works so well, and all the other questions that parents ask me about what it looks like to work with me. So buckle up and let's jump into all these questions. By the way, if you don't know who I am, my name's Coach Bougie. I transitioned from an infielder to a catcher in college and learned the position from the ground up with the college brain and a college body, but I went through all the beginner struggles that every single catcher goes through. I just did it a little bit stronger and able to articulate it a little bit better. So I think that's why a lot of people like the way that I explain it, because it was a really tough transition, but I learned a ton, and now it's really fun for me to be able to help others walk through that same learning journey as well. Okay, so let's jump in and let me give you a roadmap of all the questions I'm going to answer, and then we'll go answer all of them. So first, why online coaching, how I structured the program, how much time it takes, what you'll actually need in terms of space and equipment, who it's a good fit for and who it's not a good fit for, how long is the commitment for, what's the schedule, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so let's jump in. First, why online coaching? Well, let me just first state, in-person coaching is awesome. There's no substitute for in-person coaching when you're in the flesh with someone and you're getting live feedback every single rep. It's just so effective. The problem is most in-person coaches do a 60-minute lesson once a week, and then you don't have any contact the rest of the week. And so if you even do any drills, you don't know if you're doing them correctly. They don't give you any homework to do throughout the week, and you just don't really have access to them. And on top of that, when you only practice once a week, and what we're really trying to solve is a movement problem, because that's why you can't block and you can't receive and all that kind of stuff, because your body's not moving correctly. Only practicing once a week is not gonna solve the movement problem. You need to do a little, a lot. That's where consistency is greater than intensity. If you've heard that before, this is where that is so true. And if you've ever learned to play an instrument or anything like that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. My senior year of high school, I learned how to play the guitar. My fingers would cramp and I would go to sleep. I would wake up the next morning and then it was a little bit easier. And I did that for a few weeks and all of a sudden I could play some chords. And it's the same exact thing with learning to catch. You just need to learn the right techniques and tools and give yourself enough spaced repetition to actually be able to learn this stuff. The other big benefits of online coaching is, one, kids are so visual. They learn through screens. They will actually learn more through a screen watching a video than a physical person standing there in class. Go look in any classroom. They're not learning that much from the actual teacher. They're learning from scrolling on social media. And I bet you that if you're watching this video that you've probably learned a ton about catching already from me, and so has your kid. Just imagine what happens when now we add in an additional layer of personalized video feedback, where they're not just learning the best structure and system to learn catching, but then they're actually looking at themselves catch, and they're getting me to look at them and draw lines on their body and have a voiceover and say, see how you're doing this? We want to do this instead. And then all of a sudden they're going to make adjustments and you're going to be blown away at how quick the progress is online. Okay, next big thing, when you look at how it's structured, there's really a few big phases. So there's the initial 4-week period where we really dive deep into the fundamentals. And then the next 4 weeks after that is going to be a double down on the fundamentals, trying to transfer all of those into game speed to get you game ready. And then after that, we're going to talk about all the nuances of the position. So how do you do a tag play? What about a catcher pop-up? What about bunt defense? How do you call a game? How do you manage a staff? What do you do in certain situations? How do you think about where the ball is going? All that kind of stuff. We're going to cover that, but it doesn't make sense to cover that first. We really need to get you good at the fundamentals. So that's why we start there. And so there's really 3 phases. Catch core is the first 4 weeks, where we essentially go through a progression of learn to move, add a ball, make it harder over and over and over. And by the end of that 4 weeks, you come out of there with a rock solid, step-by-step fundamental routine that we installed with me reviewing your video and giving you feedback after every one of those. And then typically after that, we go kind of a few different ways. So then it gets a little more customized and we create essentially a game plan for you to go execute on the drills that you need to do based off what we're seeing in the video. A lot of times kids will need help with their throwing, because throwing mechanics are something that most people are in desperate need of. And so we'll work there a lot. So how much time does it take and what do you actually get with everything that you're paying for? Well, from a time perspective, what I ask for you to commit to is at least 3 times a week of practice for 20 to 30 minutes. That's what I would consider to be the minimum effective dose, where if you do that, you should be able to get the result. Of course, if you do more, you're probably going to get more, but at least if you can do that, which comes out to about an hour and a half a week, but it needs to be spaced out a little bit so that your body has time to really marinate in the movements, so to speak, so that it can actually learn the muscle memory that we're trying to create. The other things that you can expect that you would get is, one, you would get the full system on how to get better at catching. I think it's the best system in the whole world. I don't think that anything else exists like this that is as well organized and as clear and as step-by-step. And on top of that, you get a 1-hour group call with me every week on Zoom. And if you can't make it, they're all recorded and they're all organized so that you can go back and look at them. And if you want to work on something specific, there's a bunch of additional resources for you to help you at whatever stage you're at. And on top of that, you get into a community of other catchers, and I'm constantly reviewing a ton of videos, so I see the same patterns pop up all the time. So I'm taking those videos and making group videos to help everyone learn faster, because guess what? Almost everyone, whether you're 8 or 18, you still have the same mechanical mistakes, especially if you're at that beginning phase of the journey and learning how to move as a catcher. You're gonna have similar mistakes regardless of whatever age you are. And on top of that, you get all the courses and all the bonus resources. You'll also get free access to the group Zoom clinics I do every month. And this is a new addition, I'm doing some in-person retreats, and those are exclusive to members only for now. Okay, so now you know how much time it takes and what you're gonna get. What do you need in terms of space and equipment? This space in the backyard is literally all you would need. You could do it in the living room if you really needed to. I built it in a way that you can do it at home. You're gonna need a phone and a tripod, and then that's pretty much all you need. I guess catcher's equipment and a ball would be the other things that you would need. Now, if you are a really advanced player, you're gonna need probably access to a machine to just increase the difficulty level to make sure that it's hard enough for you. But with every single player, we start with the movements, which means that we're not actually even using the ball. So like you could just do it in your living room if you really needed to. Okay, so you don't need that much space. If you have a cage or a backyard or some space on the floor, like you're gonna have enough space to at least get going through these first 4 weeks, and then we can adjust from there. Who is this for? Well, honestly, this is a perfect program for anyone from 7 to 18. And the reason it's such a big age gap is because regardless of how old you are, the way to get better is actually the fundamentals. I do the same drills when I was coaching college players at Biola that I do with 7 and 8-year-olds. The only thing that changes is the athlete's strength and athleticism and attention to detail and precision as we do the drills. And so it's not actually the drills that change, it's actually a little bit more of the feedback, which is how I would personalize it to each player. And so with the younger guys, I can be a little bit more broad, make sure that it's fun, make sure that they're really enjoying it, while giving them great instruction at the same time. But with the older guys, we tend to get really deep and really detailed because we can slow it down with video and actually look at what's going on. And you might be wondering, is this good for baseball and softball? Yeah, and I teach softball a little bit differently. The program itself uses a baseball. It's centered around baseball. I use baseball language, but I think softball at the core of it is really the same movements. There's slight differences. I was actually just talking with Jen Schro about what some of the differences are, and I feel like I'm well versed in softball. I've worked with a number of softball players. I've had one girl who's been with me for I think over 2 years now, and I've really learned a ton about softball. So if you're interested in that and you are a softball player, then I still think that it would be a really good fit for you. But if you want to go like with a video that has a softball instead of a baseball, like I guess that's totally up to you. Who is this not a good fit for? Well, I'll tell you what, I haven't had anyone who actually did the work that did not get significantly better. So it's not a good fit for you if you're not gonna do the work, okay? Because again, this is not a babysitting program. You're not gonna drop your kid off and I'm gonna throw balls at them for an hour. This is a program where I have curated the right information in the right order for you to do at home. And if you can't do that, then it's not gonna work, right? Like just with anything, you have to do the work. I can't catch the ball for you. You got to catch the ball. I can teach you, but ultimately you got to actually do the work. And so it's not a good fit for you if you're not willing to practice or if you're not able to. Maybe right now you're super busy. Maybe it's not a good time. And at the same time, do you ever think that you're just not going to be busy? Like it's 20 to 30 minutes 3 times a week. So if you really want to make it happen, you can make it happen. Maybe you have 5 kids. You got a lot going on. Totally. So maybe it's not the right time. But maybe at the same time, it could be the spot where you can carve out one-on-one time with your kid in a thing that they love. So totally up to you. the big thing is if you're not going to practice, you're not going to get better. And if you're just not open to the idea of online training, then probably not a good fit for you there either. Right? If you don't think that it could work, hey, no worries. It works really well. But if you don't believe that it has a chance of working, and you're not willing to put in the work, probably not a good fit. Other person it's not a good fit for is if you're against new school style catching techniques. So if you don't like single knee, you don't like glove on the ground, you're not open to learning that kind of stuff, probably not a good fit. We talk about that a lot because that's where the game has gone, and we're trying to be the best at what the fundamentals are, which is still catching the ball, but it's including some of these new school techniques that you literally see in any game, MLB, college, even good high school players. They're all doing the same stuff, okay? So if you want to learn how to do that, this is a good fit. If you don't like that, not a good fit. Okay, what about timing and all that kind of stuff? Well, here's what I'll say. I've played around with a bunch of different models of how I structure pricing and weekly coaching and all that kind of stuff. What I have right now is it's a 4-week introduction. The reason why is 4 weeks is long enough to get a result, and it's short enough for you to feel confident that you can take a risk and test it out if you've never done online coaching. Once you sign up and go through those 4 weeks, after 30 days, it'll automatically go into a subscription. You can cancel at any time, no hard feelings with me. You go out of town for a month, we could keep doing it because it's online, or if you want to wait, then we can totally pause on that too. I'm pretty flexible with it. I love working with people for long periods of time. Worked with a number of people for 2-3 years as I've been doing this, and it's a lot of fun. So maybe you're looking at this and you're like, I'm going out of town next week. Okay, then maybe sign up the week after when you get back or something. Or if you're feeling fired up, then yeah, you can sign up right now too. Ultimately, I want it to be a good fit for you. A lot of times I see that when people are inspired, they're ready to take action. But a lot of times I see that inspiration has an expiration, which means you're fired up, you're ready to make a move. And sometimes you got to commit in that moment and take the risk while you're fired up and then let the actions play out. Because if you wait, then you might not ever take that first step and get started, and then you'll stay stuck where you are. So ultimately, whatever is the right thing for you guys, do that, but that's kind of what I've seen across different people that I've worked with. Okay, so hopefully I've answered all your questions. If I missed one, then put it in the comments below and I'll try to answer it down there. But if you have any other questions, let me know. Next steps to get started would be really 2 ways. You can go find me on Instagram at Catching Made Simple and DM me 4 weeks. And that will get you started into this 4-week initial program. Or you can go to catchingmadesimple.com/plan, and that should have the info to get started. If you're not an Instagram person, you can still get started. Just go to the website, catchingmadesimple.com/plan. So 2 options: go to Instagram, DM me 4 weeks, or go to catchingmadesimple.com/plan. Okay? All that being said, I hope that this helps you, and I hope that it at least helps you understand a little bit more about me and about how I think about catching and about what exactly you could expect if you were to sign up and we were to work together. One more thing I forgot to add, you would be working directly with me. I'm not going to send you off to another coach or anything. Maybe in the future I'll get big enough to do that, but right now you're working directly with me and with a bunch of other catchers who are working directly with me. If you have any other questions, let me know. Maybe I'll see you inside. I hope I do. I'm Coach Bougie. I'll catch you later.